Salut ma belle. Avant de commencer, laissez-moi te prévenir. Ceci ici est un podcast lors de divulgation. Marchez légèrement, ma jolie. And for my English-speaking beauties, fair warning, there's spoilers ahead. Thanks for listening. Enjoy, my lovelies.
Are you ready, Justin?
Aye, aye, Brandon.
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Brandon.
Oh, who reads the manga for the show One Piece?
Brandon, Justin.
Loud and obnoxious, don't call the police.
Brandon, Justin.
We took over this program for Spoilercast 5.
Brandon, Justin.
We'll talk about new stuff, you'll be so surprised.
Brandon, Justin.
Ready? Brandon, Justin. Brandon, Justin. Brandon, Justin.
That was so good.
Yeah, that was good. That felt right. I think that felt really right. I'm sure it's going to come out like dog shit, like every other musical-related bit we do on this cast. But
I
hey,
am
you know
so
what?
concerned about how big my waves are. They look really wild and obnoxious, but that's a Dylan fix.
I like to think of my waveforms as just part of the charm, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like at this point, we've been doing this long. You know, we've done this bit. I don't want to do this bit anymore. We've made this joke. We talked about waveforms, and you know, I feel like after we crossed the 3-year threshold, we're recycling the content at this point.
See, it's not a bit; it's just the reality of things. But anyway,
It do be the reality of things. I've stopped looking at my waveforms. You can't fight it. You just have to embrace it. It gives us charm. You know what I mean?
just gotta embrace the peaks and the
Yeah.
and the red zones.
So how you doing, Justin? You having fun over there?
You know, I think I'm doing okay.
All right. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. What are we here for again?
We are here for Spoilercast number 5. How is this not the third? When did we do 2 more of these? That's the full title.
That is the entire title. Yes. We had to make sure to get that entire caveat in there. We, just like every other anime in the 21st century, we are also extending the title of every single thing that we produce.
We're officially an isekai now.
Yeah, we have become an isekai. But yeah, no, we're here for Spoilercast 5. Justin's been really looking forward to this, haven't you, Justin?
I think so. I think there's, particularly recently, if you've been reading the manga, there's just been a lot of new information that's been coming out, like week after week after week for the past, maybe 3 months, maybe a little less, but...
Yeah, which is true. And we just finished, the Marineford War, and so that's a decent stopping point for us. So between Wano ending... Oh, sorry. Hold on. Maybe Dylan believes that. It probably doesn't. This is a spoiler cast. So from now on, unless you want to be spoiled for literally anything that is in the One Piece anime or manga, leave. Go away. You don't want to be here.
Now that we warned you, Ace dies. Wait, hold on. That's not spoiler anymore. Wait.
Damn it, I wanted to do it. Oh, that's right. He's not a spoiler anymore. Wait a second.
Hold on. Sanji's last name is Vinsmoke. There you go. Bam. Spoiled.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah. Sanji's last name's Vinsmoke. There you go. That's the new Ace dies meme.
Exactly. Sanji has a last name and he has a family.
This is good. I was actually, now that I think about it, we needed something to replace that in order to continue the spoiler cast energy. So I'm glad that we managed to find that for ourselves. I was going to think maybe we say Sabo lived, just to stay in the vein.
Honestly, I think that just carries as much weight to it. Sanji's last name is a meme. Saying Sabo lives and not being ironic with it, that's pretty big spoiler, I think.
Yeah, I feel like it would be, but either way, same energy regardless, whether it's Sanji Vinsmoke or I'm so sorry. Hold on. I think somebody just entered my house.
Oh no.
Hold on. Insert Jeopardy music here.
I can't.
I have returned and it was all a lie.
Thank God. Whew. I ran out of air and music to sing.
Somebody would have like walked into my house and I'm just like, hello. And they're like, my name is Antonio Bandera and I've come to kill you, or you killed my father, or whatever the fuck the Princess Bride joke is. I totally forget that dude's name. What was it? Hang on, I want to know this bit now. Hold on. Princess Bride. This is already so scuffed, but I don't care. Princess Bride, quote, my name is Antonio? Is it? My name is... What the fuck? It's... Princess Bride, quote, my name is... Hold on. My name is Indigo Montoya. You killed my father. That's what it was.
I couldn't tap fast enough. No, where's this kid? I was trying to remember the name of the luggage dude from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, where he's like, my name is I can't even say it because I can't remember. Everyone's wondering, what's this guy's name? Luggage dude.
All right. Well, moving on from the broken parts of our brain, let's try to find the places that aren't broken. So we are here for One Piece Spoilercast, and yeah, so it's been a minute since we did one of these, and I guess we didn't really have a lot of structure to this episode.
No, not
that we ever
bit.
do, but sometimes it comes out relatively organic and normal or whatever here and there. Hopefully, maybe we're
I wrote some bullets. We allegedly went over them.
Yeah, totally. So I guess the first thing that we're gonna do is we'll cover the post chapter 1000. Although, should we wait? Maybe we should talk about how we felt about Wano first. No? What do you think, Justin?
Listen, you feel free to steer the ship. I just wrote bullet points. I don't know where to go. There's a lot we can go.
How about this? First of all, let's cover what has happened since the last time we had a spoiler cast. Now, I believe the last time we had a spoiler cast, they had just started the fight with Kaido and Big Mom on the rooftop, right?
I believe that's correct.
I think I even remember the last chapter that debuted when we did a spoiler cast was when Law put the sun homie, or was it the Cloud, in that little like magic box or whatever. I think it was the Cloud.
It was the Cloud, yeah.
And or what? He does have a name.
No, he puts Prometheus in the box. Zeus is with Nami, or kind of actually.
No. It was Zeus in the box because Prometheus was getting cut up by Zoro at the time. Yeah. Because then Kaido like threw like an attack at Zoro, which made him be like, "Oh no, I don't want to die." And then Prometheus he put his shit back together, and then
don't let the manga, don't let these people fool you. Zoro kills Kaido is alive and well, kids. All right, don't lose hope.
You just stop, man.
Okay, I'm joking. By the way, please.
You were never actually on that train. Okay,
no, I thought it was a meme. I thought it was a great meme. There are people who are far more unironically invested in that plot line, if you will, than I am, and I try to stay away from those people.
I think the ZKK Zoro kills Kaido has to be the worst fucking joke that has ever come out of the One Piece community.
No way.
I was here when fucking Carrot came into the picture, okay? So
no way. I think it's a good joke. I think it probably has some of the worst like sub community group members potentially.
It is a terrible meme. I mean, okay, fine. I have a subjective opinion against it. But that being said, so that was the chapter that came out the last time we did a spoiler cast. And since then, we had highlights being Kid and Law beating Big Mom and Kaido, of course. We have had Luffy eventually besting Kaido and also showing off his Gear 5, which is his awakened devil fruit. And we also have had new emperors, which Justin's already spoiled for everybody, so you all already know about that on cast.
Do I?
Yeah, you've done that. And you think you're clever, but you literally, as you normally do, you just tell them what the truth is when you are being quote unquote clever.
The Buggy being future emperor is meme. All right, they have no idea. They don't even know.
You should have at least been on the warlord bit. You jumped straight into Emperor the day that we all found out, and I still shudder when I think about that fucking episode. That being said, Buggy becomes an emperor along with Luffy after they beat Kaido and Big Mom, and now they are on the new arc known as Egghead. So, I would say, for my first thoughts about Wano, I will admit that I actually liked the climax, I think, more than most people.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of other people find that the final skirmish in Wano either A, didn't have enough happening, or more likely B, they thought it happened too fast. I am not one of those people.
I think I agree with that assessment.
I felt like the climax had enough growth, enough character interaction. Everything felt about paced as normal as any One Piece thing usually is. I didn't need a spectacle from this arc because I knew it wasn't the final arc. I know that there's going to be more after this. I mean, at the end of the day, Kaido was going to inevitably become a stepping stone. However, I will also preface this by saying there are a lot of people that I think have this mentality that it's impossible that Big Mom and Kaido are down for the count. I am not one of those people. I think that they are 100% down for the count. If they come back, the only means that they will come back, in my guesstimation, is Kaido will become like this defeated like dude who's just like wandering. He'll become almost like a Ronin wherever the fuck he lands and never fuck with anybody ever again. And he'll just be like known as like a legend, but never do anything ever again because he's so defeated. And then Big Mom will come out being unable to like use her powers or something because they landed in the lava that is supposedly covered with probalin or zelobin or whatever the hell that fucking chemical's called that like is made out of sea prism stone.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
A big theory that everyone has is if they did survive, their bodies are literally covered in essentially sea prism stone, so they can't use their devil fruits anyway. And they put a lot of, I guess, priority over their devil fruit. I mean, they were also kings of their hockey stuff. And Kaido even said, you know, for someone like Roger, he literally conquered the seas using hockey alone or whatever. But I don't know. I do not for a second see them coming back into the story in any significant capacity. If they exist, it will be to serve a minor subplot. It will not be to serve the grand story. That is my personal opinion. That being said,
you know, I think I was one of those people when we first started off, when they knock Kaido and Big Mom down into the volcanic ocean floor or whatever. I think for me, I was just a little, I don't want to say I was upset. I think I was in shock and disbelief at like, this is how we defeat them, which I guess makes sense because like, for Luffy at least, Luffy isn't the type to kill anybody.
Yes.
And so having Kaido fall down to like magma, and I think I also did forget the part of like, oh yeah, like there's like sea prism essence floating around down there. So in my head, I'm like, surely Kaido can like get up from that, and then you know we get something else down the line. I don't know. I guess for me, I was having trouble trying to envision like how do they beat Big Mom and Kaido without like some gory finish or being like really ridiculous and like off-putting. Like, you know, we can't talk no jutsu them. We can't do this or that or whatever. So like, how do you defeat these two absolute units of antagonists, right?
I really just feel like the answer to that question is so much simpler than the community is expecting. I think it's just they lose their drive to do anything anymore. You know what I mean? Like the kids beat them. Their thrones have been dethroned. They could fight to get them back, but now they're going to be playing catch up in an era where they're already like the oldest pirates on the seas. Like they've been knocked down so many pegs. Could they, in theory, if they're alive and if the whole sea prism thing, like covering their skin, if that's not the case, and in theory they have every capability that they previously had once they heal, I mean, at the end of the day, like they're going to be playing catch up all over again. I think it's okay in this instance to just be like, from a narrative perspective, they've given up because they're so fucking old and they've been knocked down a peg. They just don't even have the energy to get their heads back into the game. I think that that's fine. And it's not the first time that narrative choice would have been chosen for any anime, let alone One Piece.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion, I guess. I don't know if you have any different opinions.
No, I could rock with that. I think maybe also a big driving force for mostly believing Big Mom wasn't down for the count is I think everyone generally believes that Elbaf is on the timeline, right? And Mom being a giant, and she, from what I hear, I never actually saw or read this, in Whole Cake Island, she had her own like little backstory introduction.
Wait. Okay, so yeah. Wait. You haven't seen that, and you think she's a giant?
Well, like, is she a giant? Question mark.
No,
She's not a giant.
She's not a giant. She's just a very large woman. Yes,
wow.
I'm not kidding.
Okay. All right. Well,
you are big dumb.
I listen. I saw Big Woman. As far as I remember hearing that she like grew up on Elbaf, right? Or am I wrong?
She did grow up on Elbaf, but she grew up on Elbaf as an orphan when her bio parents brought her to Elbaf. I don't know if she was like a noble, but like her parents were noble or rich enough to be able to just afford a casual boat trip to Elbaf, I guess. And that's where she was dropped off with Mother Caramel, which was remember Mother Caramel from like, you know, like the
vaguely remember her story. Yeah.
Did you read
no, I did
Whole Cake Island?
Did not. Whole Cake Island, I'm not completely blind because I know like certain big of plot points that happen, but like I'm mostly blind.
That's wild to me. Whole Cake Island is objectively my favorite One Piece arc outside of pre-time skip, bar none. And even after finishing Wano, I feel like I have the same opinion.
That's fair. So today I learned Big Mom is not a giant, so this probably puts a hole into my little headcanon here. But I was like, oh, like if she were to come back, surely she comes back in Elbaf, and then something crazy happens.
I mean, that still might be the case. So she might still come back in Elbaf. But as of right now, the Elbaf tie-in, the most recent chapter we've gotten, Kid is on his way to Elbaf. He's actually rolling up to it as we speak.
He's like pulling up the shore or something like that. According to Kid. Oh, not Kid. What am I on about? Killer, yeah. If Killer's to be believed and his gut instinct is correct, they have landed on a path.
I think that is fun is that since Killer was the tag team with Law in defeating Big Mom, when the word gets around that he was one of the two people that beat Big Mom, he's going to be welcomed on Elbaf with open arms because now she might not be a giant, but she did fuck with a lot of the giants on Elbaf to the point where they were banished. Because what she did was she killed one of the grand elders or whatever. Does that make sense?
Wow.
Yeah. There was like two grand elders on Elbaf, and she murked one of them. And Mother Caramel, it was like a hero to the giants there. She had a bunch of other orphan kids. But what Mother Caramel got the giant elder that survived to agree to is just a blanket banishment instead of murder against Big Mom or Lin or whatever. Because back in those days, Mother Caramel, before Big Mom ate all the kids, and Mother Caramel included, before that happened, Mother Caramel had the intention of selling her to the world government because she was like, oh, this bitch is like really fucking strong, and she's like 5. But of course after that, so she was like, I need to restrict this and just turn it into a banishment so that I don't lose my fucking, get out of jail free or my money ticket or whatever. And then of course Big Mom ends up eating all of them.
Wild.
Big sad. Or I guess, I mean, it's heavily implied, but there's literally no conceivable way that Big Mom could have gotten Mother Caramel's devil fruit if
without
she didn't
eating her.
Fucking eat her. Like, let's be real.
And as far as many of us are concerned, Blackbeard ate something off of Whitebeard. I'm convinced he ate his heart. That's what I'm convinced.
I'm also kind of convinced he ate his heart, but even if he didn't, I think it has something to do with his devil fruit. Regardless, there is no rhyme or reason that Big Mom would have gotten that power without the only rule we know is eating, edible or whatever. So it might as well be confirmed that she ate all those damn kids and Mother Caramel until Oda, throws a brand new red herring later down the line and fucking redoes the whole thing. But I don't know why he would. At this point, he's already set the record. He's already created the expectation. I don't know why he would undo that, but I don't know. Regardless.
While we're here, we could finish the Wano talk if we're done or not done, whatever.
I am not done with the Wano talk. I am not done with the Wano talk.
Okay, I was just gonna ask, like, since we're here, do you want to jump onto the whatchamacallit, the devil fruit theory stuff that we've gotten recently, or hold off on that for a second?
Absolutely hold off on that. I have no idea what you're talking about, but hold off on it. I want to finish Wano. At least my blanket review. I liked the climax and I liked the end of Wano. I felt like from a weekly basis, I had a great time. I felt like everyone got enough screen time to where I could keep my attention. The only thing I would say is that I think on the surface, I still would put Wano below Whole Cake Island because I, as an audience, didn't feel the kind of attachment for the subplot of the arc as I did for Whole Cake Island. I think I was more attached to the events that happened during Whole Cake Island than I was in Wano as a whole. And Wano went kind of off. I mean, they had a dude who would rob from the rich and give to the poor. They had the dude who gave his life in order to keep the rebellion like under wraps.
They had the whole Smiles plot point.
They had the Smile plot point. There was a lot happening. I'm not going to say like Oda didn't go off. Don't get me wrong. I think just from like a flat perspective, I think I vibed more with the Whole Cake Island arc and everything happening with Sanji, Katakuri's introduction, just like the way everything played out in Whole Cake Island felt better than what we got in Wano. But I don't feel like Wano's problems are that it wasn't long enough. I think that Wano's problems are that, if anything, it just didn't have the kind of, other than like us being connected to Odin, which was good. That was a little dragged out in my opinion. I think the Odin stuff almost could have been reduced a little bit. As nice as it was to get Roger, I think it wasn't like 20 chapters, or am I completely misremembering? It might not have been 20. It might have only been like 15 or 10. But I felt like the Odin stuff dragged on a little bit, in my personal opinion.
Interesting review.
That is essentially I would still give Wano like a solid 8 out of 10. But Whole Cake Island is closer to a 9, in my personal opinion.
Interesting. Okay. So my review of Wano is I absolutely loved it. I don't know if I'm ready to say it's like my favorite saga arc, whatever. I think I should do it justice and, finish watching everything, and particularly the Whole Cake Island stuff. I'm also thinking I might like Dressrosa a lot more on our rewatch coming up in the near future than I currently hold it, because now that I'm a little bit more attentive to like certain plot points and things that happen, particularly in that arc. I'm thinking I think Dressrosa might be my favorite arc. Like it has one of my favorite villains, cool characters, a lot of backstory, cool fights, blah blah blah. I don't know that for sure. That's my prediction for myself. I think I'm actually going to really, really, really like Dressrosa on this rewatch after I give it, my full attention and whatnot that it deserves.
Totally.
So we'll see. I definitely still like Wano. I'm my brain is mixing between I'm combining both mediums of like reading for the manga and also watching the anime. Anime pacing is actually starting to slow down. I'm starting to physically be aware of that. That's just anime stuff, typical One Piece stuff, whatever. Who cares about that? For anime, my influence, I love the art. I know they've done a little bit of art change when walking into Wano. I loved it. All the pretty colors. They've been going hard on animation for more recently for certain scenes or whatever. Love it. It's great. Generally still like the story. I got Zoro back. That was my big thing when we first started Wano. I think that's probably why I hold it so highly. In retrospect, I was like, bro, I got my favorite character back after literal years. I can do it. This is the best thing ever, right? I appreciate all the story points for in Wano in terms of how the Straw Hats interact and whatnot. I really like the Odin backstory. Seeing Roger and just getting their whole adventure, I thought that was super dope, super sick. Odin attempting to save his compatriots from Kaido was cool. Kaido as a character is pretty cool. I do wish I got more backstory for the character. Give me a chapter or two instead of a couple panels. I think Kaido is a compelling enough character to warrant such a dive into his story and whatnot, especially when
I think that's also my other hot take. I like the backstory we got of Kaido. Wow. I actually wanted to not learn more about Kaido. I think I sort of feel like that when you're in this narrative position as like a main like shonen author, when you dive into the backstory of these major antagonists, the only ones that get the real limelight are the ones that are either going to be deceased by the end or the ones that you plan on reutilizing later. By making Kaido have less of a backstory, we focus more about him in the present. He's a present threat. We only want to throw him down and get rid of him. He is a stepping stone for the protagonist. By adding all these extra layers of like, I mean, we got enough backstory with Odin because that's when he mattered, right? Like that's when he was a threat. We got enough backstory of like how he met King and whatnot through like the couple of pages that we did get. I just don't see, there's nothing more in his backstory beyond what we got that I would say would facilitate a response from the audience in reflection to Luffy's struggles today. There's just nothing in there that I could think that would allow for Luffy today to have a bigger reason to beat Kaido. Like, we're already here. We already want to beat him. None of his backstory would be in service to Luffy beyond what we got. I think might be my very shallow opinion.
I think for me, I always just want to know more. I understand it's a lot of effort and extra work for authors to do. It's like, hey, you gave me this really cool character. It'd be cool if you told me like what his favorite cereal was, what it was like being a child. Tell me how he ended up on a crew with Roger and Linlin for rocks and blah, blah, blah. Give me everything, you know? I'm a freaking greedy little gremlin. Just give me.
I'm just a greedy gremlin.
But yeah, Luffy versus Kaido was dope. I really, really appreciated the... I don't know if I'd call them lore... There were lore dumps at the very end of Wano that I remember to get to. But like, all the little sprinkles of things between King versus Zoro and Queen versus Sanji, the whole Lunarian question, I love it. I want answers. I think it's how we're gonna like either quite literally or in some capacity bring Eno back into the story, whether like we literally bring him back down from the moon or we go up there ourselves or he just becomes relevant to that little plot line or question mark, whatever. I'm really invested in this plot line. Like, yo, is Sanji fully human? Does he have Lunarian DNA? Is he just a meme who can just light on fire because he's so passionate? Who knows? I want the answer, though, and I'm really interested in where it goes. I think King was a really cool character. He's also fucking beautiful, and I cannot wait for the anime to show his face.
Can I just say, too, is it like, why on earth do they always give the not white character to Zoro, though? Like, it's becoming a problem.
You know,
we need to like have a serious chat with Zoro.
At first it was a meme, and then they brought out the humandrils and people started asking questions.
Okay, we're getting out of the humandrils. That's a little yikes. You need to fucking relax. I'm talking like Pika. I'm talking King.
Yeah.
I'm talking Daz Bones. If there is a darker skinned character, he tends to fight them very often. It's a little alarming.
That this do be true. I don't know how Oda plans to address this if he ever does.
I don't think he will. I mean, it's all coincidence, but it is kind of funny how it ends up happening like that. It's all coincidence. Come on.
I don't know. It feels
Zoro
like
just
it's
fights the guy with a sword, dude. That's his only fucking rule. Does character have sword? If yes, I fight. That's where he stands.
You're right. For like Zoro as a character, as we understand him, it's nothing intentional. It's like, even in an episode released yesterday before we recorded this, it's when Zoro first approaches King to like fight him, and he like makes commentary of like, oh, I guess you're not actually a swordsman, you're just a bloodthirsty dude who would do anything to win. My bad, I shouldn't have made that assumption.
I shouldn't have made that assumption. How very progressive of you, Zoro, for recognizing your...
He's like, oh man, I saw a guy with a sword. I thought he was a swordsman. My bad. I should have asked some questions.
I should have asked.
But yeah, I really like their fight. I hope Oda touches upon the whole like dance with death that Zoro had for like a panel or two. I don't know what happened there. I hope we get an answer on that.
Like when the Grim Reaper came out of nowhere,
yeah,
fake killed him.
Yeah, and then we just didn't address it. It was like, was it Brooke and he was hallucinating, or nope, we're just not going to touch about it? Okay.
I want to believe that maybe it was the manifestation of one of his swords or something.
Surely it'd be Enma.
I think it would either be... Actually, that makes the most sense, because I think Enma literally translates to like the king of the underworld or something like that.
I want to say that's correct. I feel like I remember that.
Let me double check. I remember it was like heaven and hell were Odin's two swords or something. Enma translation. Let me double check.
While you do
Enma,
that,
it is a deity and or personification of death. You see?
All right. Well, makes sense. Going further on my Wano review, I do one of my gripes. I hate that Oda did not like beat me over the head with confirmation that Zoro has like Wano lineage. Like there's been drops and teases, I guess would be the word I'd use, but there's nothing
the
like
lineage. Is that his old like master or something? No. Kuina's granddad came from Wano. Like that's all you need.
I want more. I want to know his mom, pa. Like I said with Kaido, I'm a greedy gremlin. Give me more, especially for one of my favorite characters. What also drives this further for me at this current moment is last night in this episode I was mentioning. I don't know if this is ever mentioned in the manga. It's been a while and I didn't go back to check. Big Boss Hyogoro is talking to one of his goons from the land of Wano or whatever, and he was like, hey, he really reminds me of another samurai from Wano long ago. It was like Ushimaru? I forgot their last name. Sumo...
I believe it was Shimosuke something or other.
Shimotsuki, I think, is their like last name. So or first name. Shimotsuki Ushimaru was the guy I was thinking of, and then they were like, that guy is related to Ryuma, who Zoro fought, and they were like, yo, one-eyed swordsman, and they're drawing parallels, and I'm like, just tell me that Ryuma is Zoro's grandfather and that Ushimaru was his dad or something crazy. Like, I don't know. I just want something.
But what if he's not related, but it's more of just like an inherited will thing, like everything else in this fucking franchise?
That is fair. That is fair.
I don't see like that this is a problem. More of like, this is just like another mystery that I'm sure either will or maybe it won't get like resolved. But at this point, his tie into Wano is that his Kuina's granddad, who started the dojo that he fucking went to or whatever, at the end of the day, it taught him. Okay, that's great. We did it. We that's the only tie into Wano that this man needs.
He has no family lineage. He just has a metaphorical lineage of swordsmanship and all these other happenstances, like fighting Ryuma, getting Ryuma's sword, ending up in Wano and being requested to return Ryuma's sword so he can be placed properly with his grave so he can rest in peace properly according to the culture. And in turn, get Odin's sword, which is supposed to be like a really powerful blade and in theory should help him make the final step of, I think, Zoro's upgrade, and that's just figuring out what a black blade is and how to make one.
Now, I will say, there was always, like, I remember people saying that something they hated about Wano was like things they didn't get, X, Y, and Z. Two of them were Marco not saying bye to Luffy, or them not saying bye to each other. We eventually got that in the form of like an offhanded flashback.
Yeah, it was like off-screen or whatever.
Yeah, but the other one that everyone seemed to hate was they didn't get a resolution between Zoro and Ryuma's Black Blade Shusui or whatever. I kind of agree with that. The fact that Zoro didn't at least get a chance to like say goodbye to Shusui in a way feels a little lackluster. I guess in my mind I would have expected there to be a bit more of like a tender relationship between Zoro and that sword. I mean, yeah, he traded it for Enma at the end of the day, so now he's got a new one, so why the fuck should he care? But, I don't know. It seemed like there would be maybe some kind of, like, thank you from the spirit of the blade, maybe, to Zoro? I don't know.
What's her name? Not Toki, that's the mom. Hiyori. Hiyori, takes Shusui, and then the fox dude places him in the grave site properly, and then we get this whole spectral projection of Ryuma thanking Zoro, and no one can see it except Zoro, and he's like, oh, nothing happened. Just
I guess I expected something super anime at least because of the way he treated his blade back in Thriller Bark, right? Like he literally laid his sword to rest back in Thriller Bark. Now, this blade didn't die. It was just relinquished. So I guess it's not the same energy, but the fact that he felt the need to have a little ceremony with that sword, but absolutely no ceremony for Shusui.
Especially when he was so defensive at first, where they were like, no, that's Ryuma's blade, you need to return it. It's like, no, this is mine. I earned it properly.
That sword.
Like, this is mine. Like, it was given to me. I don't think people understand that. So I can understand that gripe. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think I do sort of stand in that camp where it's like, maybe he didn't need a big ceremony. Maybe we didn't need like super spiritual, but like an acknowledgement of like the relationship between Shusui and Zoro before they left would have been a little nice, personally.
What else in my big review here? Gear 5 was dope. We can talk about that more in a second. Post Wano stuff with the big party, that was cool.
Loved Post Wano. Had a great time.
Not a fan of Yamato not joining the crew. That's just a personal thing. Don't gotta get too much into it. I can't remember his name for some freaking reason, but Green Bull showing up, that was huge. That was dope.
Dude, what a goon.
That man's a goon.
He is nothing like I was expecting him to be.
Very much correct. Same.
I kind of like that they went, more antagonisty side for another Marine admiral. Don't get me wrong, but I want to sort of think that Oda changed his mind on the way Green Bull was going to portray himself partway through Wano, because when we saw him in the Reverie, I don't know.
That design does not look like what I'm looking at right now. I'll tell you that right now.
The design for one thing, but the thing I think most is like the way he carried himself. Like, okay, so we had a very loose and surface level impression of like his character in the Reverie. Because number one, we didn't get his face reveal. And number two, we only got like 3 lines that he was speaking to Fujitora or whatever. And at the end of the day, he just seemed like a schmuck that, messed with women all the time. Like he banged women all the time or something like that. Yeah, but
it was weird. It was like in the Reverie scene, it's like, okay, here's this schmuck who only cares about drinking and women. But there is, and maybe it's me projecting or whatever, or assuming, but when he's talking to Fujitora, I feel like because he's talking to Fujitora and because Fujitora has, in my assumption, a certain line of respect for Green Bull, we made assumptions that like, oh, maybe Green Bull is like a Wano samurai or something similar to that, similar to Fujitora in some capacity, highly respectful, especially when like they said he just doesn't eat. For whatever reason, and I guess I assume that has something to do with like noble intention for whatever reason. And then you meet this guy on screen who looks like really rugged Japanese Sylvester Stallone, and I'm like, that's not the guy I pictured at all.
All right, so I mean, I will peer behind the curtain. I had like 99% certainty that he was going to have the plant fruit the minute we met him. Like somebody called that forever ago. When he first said, I haven't eaten in years, somebody was like, oh, well, he must have a plant-related devil fruit. Because
they were like photosynthesis. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
That was pretty much called from like the day that we met the guy. But I think that it was less about the respect he had for Fujitora in the moment and more about, it seemed like his, I guess, angle was aligned more with being selfish and for himself than it was anything else. But what we got in Wano when we finally met him is he doesn't even really care about his own agenda.
He's a military dog through and through.
Yeah, he's a military dog that it literally his sole purpose is to like, make sure everyone recognizes the authority of the Celestial Dragons, which was not the energy I felt like we got from back in the Reverie.
Correct.
So a part of me sort of feels like you got a little bit of a redesign in terms of maybe emotionally and also physically, because the silhouette was a little janky from back in those days too.
Yeah, like the silhouette on the Reverie, when I see that silhouette, I think of now, I don't remember his name, unfortunately, but
Fabio.
I think of the Triceratop dude that Frankie fights in Wano. That's the image I have in my head of that dude.
Sasuke, yeah, I think his name is
Sasuke. That silhouette is who I would assume Green Bull to eventually look like, more or less.
No, it's actually funny. I too felt like, so we ended up getting like a Sylvester Stallone looking motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I also thought, although less Sasuke and more like, oh, he must have based him off of some Japanese actor equivalent of Fabio. Because in my mind, I read a Fabio out of the silhouette that we got back in Reverie, if I'm going to be honest.
That's fair.
Which is totally cool. I mean, I'm fine with like the changes that they gave him. I like that we have another villainous Marine, but it was a little jarring getting to know him versus what we had been previously exposed to, I think. There was definitely a little bit of a disconnect. And you already talked about Yamato or whatever. The Yamato thing, I kind of wish she was on, but like I'm not like depressed that she's not. I'm okay with it either
just because
way.
I really like the character and I wish I got to like be with them more. That's really my
I like
only
the
angle.
character too, and I think if I'm upset, it's that Oda went out of his fucking way to throw this red herring in our faces.
Yeah.
Like, I think it should not have been milked quite as much. Like, I don't even mind that Yamato's not coming. Like, okay, she was a cool character, or they were a cool character, however the fuck the argument is. I liked their backstory. I sort of liked the idea that they could be on the crew, but I wasn't like, committed to it. But Oda went real hard trying to convince us that she was like absolutely going to be joining the goons.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a little bit unwarranted, to be perfectly honest.
Absolutely pulling the rug from underneath me. Like, you thought Yamato was going to join the crew? Sick. And I'm like, but you did so much.
Fine,
you did so much planting of seeds. Now you ripped them out.
Don't let her. Don't bring her with us. But like, why did you go so fucking hard on her joining for so fucking long?
And then like the like changing of the mind was like off screened more or less. Like, bro, what?
It took a minute, yeah, because the episode where she changed her mind, it happened like she just like told him like, yeah, I'm not actually going, and then it wasn't until like a chapter or two later that we got the context that she met with the straws outside of that final interaction or whatever, and they were like, hey, we need somebody to stay behind and protect Wado, and then she was like, I'll do it, but I'm really sad. I wanted to go.
It like made sense for the character of like, well, I'm Odin and I want to be like Odin. Odin didn't just, jump aboard Whitebeard's ship or Roger's ship. There is a step of like, traveling the land of Wano itself. And I'm like, man, like that makes sense, but this is whack.
I also think that was whack. and like, so we're clear, Odin absolutely just forced his fucking way onto those boats, just so we're clear. Like, come on.
Well, wasn't he like formally invited by Roger? For Whitebeard, it was he just clung to the anchor for like 3 days or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. He forced his way onto Whitebeard's, but he did get formally invited by Roger when Roger was like, yo, I'm a pretty cool guy. And then Odin was like, you are pretty cool. Wow.
And he was like, you can read poneglyphs. Like, yo, Edward, you sure you need this guy? You mind if I borrow him?
Yeah, can I borrow your bun here? It's just like, what the hell, dude?
It's also really wild when you think about it. It's like, huh? Just coaching, probably one of the most like not vital. I guess he was vital to Whitebeard's.
Well, no, I mean at the end of the day, think about it like this, and this is the thing I love the most. Whitebeard and Odin, they had a relationship that was unlike any other member on the entirety of Whitebeard's crew. He never called Odin his son. He only ever called him his brother. He recognized him, unlike any other member of his crew, as not only an equal, but like almost like a leader in his own right who can make his own decisions. I think that goes into why, at the end of the day, Whitebeard wasn't mad at Roger for taking Odin, and also wasn't even really mad at Odin for going with Roger. Like, he was butthurt a little bit, but he was never going to stop anybody or, make a big deal of it, because he allowed Odin the flexibility of being on his ship while simultaneously having the freedom to make his own decisions and go wherever he wanted. He wasn't a Whitebeard pirate. He was more of just kind of like an equal like commodity to Whitebeard, and that was just like vibing together, in my opinion. And I really like that relationship, at least that dynamic difference between what Odin represented versus anybody else on Whitebeard's crew.
While we're here, I think there's a good point to talk about this. So we recently just finished up Marineford and Ace dying, and Whitebeard actively trying to prevent that. I think I understand a little bit more your position of why you could understand why Whitebeard didn't go out of his way to go to Wano and avenge Odin for what Kaido did to him. I don't agree, but I kind of get it, given what you just said. On top of, in the past, you mentioned is like, hey, listen, like Whitebeard could just also be a flawed character.
Yeah.
However, and a part of me that where I stray from your train of thought is like, okay, yeah, he could be flawed, but like, I feel like at some point he would just get frustrated in himself and at least attempt to go like roll up to Wano and fight him in some capacity, or just meet him on the seas or whatever. Like, maybe he didn't do it immediately. Maybe he took like 5 years to argue with himself or something crazy like that. I think it's wild that like, for one reason or another, Odin, or not Whitebeard just, didn't feel like it for whatever reason. I think that's wild to me.
I stand by, think about like what happened at the end of Thriller Bark. When Luffy realized that Ace was in big trouble, he was like, nah, he'll figure it out. It's his adventure. It's his shit to deal with, right? I mean, when you see Whitebeard saw Odin as an equal more so than anybody else that he let sail with him. So I think what the extension of that is similarly how Luffy felt about Ace, Whitebeard feels about Odin. It's his shit. It's his decisions to make. He can make his own choices, his own mistakes. When Ace comes back and explains everything that's happening with Wano, at the end of the day, Whitebeard's like, hey, we're bros and I feel for him, but like that's not our business. And I don't know. I find that to be, now if he saw Odin as a son like everybody else, then of course he's going to do something. But that's not the relationship they had. Odin was not one of Whitebeard's kids, at least not in his eyes. They were just equals. I don't know. I sort of like that counter and why that relationship ended the way it did, so that we have a better understanding and the commitment that Whitebeard is as a father first, and I guess like a friend / brother second, so to speak.
So besides that, what else at post Wano? Shanks rolling up doing more Shanks things.
That was just such a nothing thing, though. I mean,
what do you mean?
It was so nothing.
What?
He just shows up and scares Green Bull with Conqueror's Haki.
It wasn't just like a scare thing. I think for me, what I loved most about it was just like the expansion of Haki as we understand it, where it's like, okay, this dude has like telepathy now, more or less, and can like literally paralyze somebody with fear or whatever. Like, nuts.
Dude, he literally shows up. He's not even like on the island.
He's on the shore, out of his way, ready to dip out, and he's like, wait a minute.
Let me talk. Let me fucking say this. He went out of his way to sail to Wano, just parked on the shoreline, and stared into the void angrily, big ang, and then made Green Bull go, okay, fine, I'll leave. And then he was like, hey, let's go get the One Piece, and then fucked back off. It was the most pointless fucking thing that I have ever seen Shanks do to date, by bar none. He shows up only to use Conqueror's Haki and fucking leaves.
Well, didn't he potentially roll up with the intention of talking to Luffy about whatever the hell Bartolomeo was doing off on Red Hair property?
If he did, then why didn't he? He still could have.
He could have.
No, he didn't. He just showed up to be Shanks for 5 minutes and then fucked off again.
That was the greatest 5 minutes of my life.
No, it was so fuck. It was the only reason that chapter existed, I'm like pretty certain, is to like
film Red plug.
Yeah, like come on, it was so fucking useless. I honestly felt offended for a minute as an audience member for that scene.
If I cared that much about myself, maybe I would too. But I was like, Shanks, he's here! Oh my god, he's paralyzing Green Bull with Haki and telepathy.
Like, I'll be a Shanks stan. I will be a Shanks stan here and there, but like, you're telling me this dude went out of his way to fuck to Wano, doesn't even go to Wano, does his big Angie, and leaves.
That was his only
purpose. Oh my god, you can't do this to me, man. I can suspend disbelief and I can really respect a lot of narrative choices, but this was just so out of left field and served. The only purpose it served was getting Green Bull's ass out of there, which when you think about it, it's like, why even bother bringing Green Bull in the first place? You could have eliminated the entire Green Bull bit with Shanks and all, and that 3-chapter period might as well never even existed. It served no other purpose other than revealing Green Bull.
Wow,
Wow.
Moving on, besides that, I think the only other real important thing for the end of Wano is we established that there is an ancient weapon in there So we established with the Tengu dude.
I like how you said an ancient weapon. Do you remember what it was?
I think it was Pluton, but I generally don't remember which one it was.
Yeah, that's correct. It is Pluton.
So I can't remember his name. So Odin's dad's alive. He's been
Shitmoski? No, that was.
Is it Shimotsuki?
Go ahead. Just
anyway,
just continue.
Odin's dad, he's alive. He's been under the guise due to shame as the Tengu dude who's been taking care of Tama. He speaks to Robin and Law about the history of Wano. He's like, hey, the Wano you see upstairs is like new Wano 2.0. The real Wano is completely submerged under this water you're looking at right now. Also, Pluton somewhere in there. And these walls, these artificial walls that were made, are the thing that is keeping real Wano underwater and also keeping everybody out, keeping Pluton safe. Point is like, yo, when what's his name? When Momonosuke finally, opens the borders, he's going to reveal the real Wano to the entire world and to his people, more or less. And he's probably going to release Pluton, potentially. So that was cool. Also,
I do like that that Pluton ended up being there. That entire sequence of events was actually very enthralling for me. I was very into it. This actually answered a couple of questions. It answered what Robin saw back in Alabasta, because we always knew that Cobra said that it had everything. It had all the knowledge that she wanted about that weapon, but she just had no interest in a weapon. She only wanted to know more about history at the time. So she lied to Crocodile. But whatever she did read was always up in the air. How much information was she privy to? Is that ever going to come back into the story? It did come back into the story. She knew that Pluton was here all along and was looking for it for a hot second. And that's when the Kozuki guy, Odin's dad, comes downstairs as Tengu and goes yes, we do have Pluton, explains all the things that you just got done explaining. I find that to be actually quite compelling from a narrative perspective. I was so what's really fun about it is that the walls of Wano, when they were talking about opening the borders of Wano, if you literally open the borders of Wano, you are unleashing unfathomable change to the world via the weapon Pluton, which is a very fun tie-in, I think, to the message that Odin was trying to deal with or whatever. Because he knows the secret of the world like Roger did, right? So, and his ultimate goal was to open Wano's borders. But if you do that and you unleash Pluton, the world never going to be the same. So, did you want war? Odin, what was your ultimate goal here? Very, very fascinating. And it answers one question, but opens up a slew of new ones.
It also, I think it's really cool tying when I'm a Western man who has very little knowledge of Japanese history. But when you think about, the real world parallel of Japan historically having a closed border and trying to close itself off to outside Western influence, and seeing Odin, being like, no, I want to open the borders and do X, Y, and Z. I think there's also more questions about that. And it's also a cool narrative tie in that I personally do not fully understand, but I don't need to.
Yeah, no, we're just here for the ride, man. We're here for a good time, not a long time.
I think that summarizes my little Wano review. I loved it. I think 8 out of 10 is a very fair score. I don't know if I could ever give anything in One Piece a 10 out of 10 until I've probably finished everything.
Yeah, totally. I think that's also a very fair thing to say. It as long as it's unfinished, it's hard to rate anything a 10 out of 10. Although that kind of sets a precedent that we could only feel like a 10 out of 10 is a relative thing based off of its own merits. Do you know what I mean? Compared to other things, I have a great time with One Piece more so than a lot of other media on average. But I still think that if there's more to go, I would like to know where the rest of the series goes and how it grows from here on out before I rank anything like a 10 out of 10 experience.
I think One Piece in of itself as holistically as a 10 out of 10. I think Oda would have to fumble the ending real bad for me to change my mind on that.
Which can still very much happen.
It could, I'm sure.
As for a lot of franchises. Just so we're clear, I'm not convinced that Mans is going to be able to finish this off and make everybody happy. In fact, I would probably bet that 50% of people are going to be fuming by the time the show is over.
Surely he can do better than the Naruto Shippuden ending. Surely. I feel like that ending is really divisive. It's like you either thought it was cool or you didn't really care about it, or you really did not like it.
But like we kind of already fell into God territory with this whole Awaken thing.
Let's talk about that real quick. How do you feel about Gear 5? Because I've heard Juan's ramblings of how much he generally does not like it. Or not so much doesn't like it, but he finds it problematic for the future of the series.
I love it.
Okay.
I think that the power of Looney Tunes is one of the most fascinating and funny fucking things that you could have done for Luffy. So at the end of the day, when Gear 5 debuted, everyone kind of had the impression that it was going to be more of like a Katakuri thing where he would just be able to like turn everything around him into rubber. Now, that much is actually still kind of true.
Correct.
But times like 5, because what we found out was that he actually had a Zoan devil fruit by the name of the human fruit model Nika, which is like a god or whatever, the god of smiles or, war, liberation,
whatever,
whatever.
In world One Piece lore is, right?
So One Piece has always been influenced by Western Looney Tunes style bullshit. That has always been a thing. For Luffy, his final form to be basically the manifestation of Looney Tunes logic is not only funny, but one of the most ingenious things that this motherfucker could have come up with for the protagonist of this fucking series. I love it. I cannot sing more praise on the power they ended up giving Luffy. I feel bad for Juan if he's not vibing with it. And the other thing is like, he's inspired by rubber hose animation. The bit is in the name. God damn it. It was in front of us all along.
I
fucking hate it. I hate that I never considered that he was just going to have the power of Cuphead. No one ever saw it coming. God, it's so good. It's so good to me. I love it. I smiled from ear to ear when I saw this dude getting his head smacked through the ceiling and it gets super big and his eyes are popping out of his head and then everyone else is getting their eyes popping out of their head. Like, that's the heart and soul.
It is some of the most jarring, but in like the most positive way possible. It was great. Looney Tunes energy was amazing.
The heart and soul of this franchise is that it is not afraid to just do dumb fucking like anime funny, but not even anime funny, even inspired by like Western Looney Tunes style funny. That's been the case since day one. And you know what? For that to be essentially the final end result of the power scaling of this universe, I think is actually very fun, very compelling, and I love it. I seriously, when those chapters first came out and he was beating Kaido, I was like, this motherfucker's a genius.
I think this is moving on to our potentially next topic a little bit. But when he turns into Gear 5 again to fight Lucci, and he like gets springboarded, or like it turns into a wrestling match. Mans hits the pipe system in the building. It's a freaking ringside ring rope. Springboards himself off of it, grabs a like curl in his hair, turns it into goggles, makes a little cartoony starstruck gleam, and then just rockets himself. I loved it. That was so funny.
It's so good, dude.
Also, going back to what you said before, when they initially debuted the power, and Luffy affected like the whole island, where everybody had the Eneru triple eye popping out face. Beautiful.
It's just so good, dude. I love it so much. And like, even like you said, when he's fighting Lucci now, just spoilers, but not that it's spoilers, but whatever. He's fighting Lucci now, and the first thing, one of the last things that happens, I mean, he smacks Lucci so hard that he makes a Lucci shaped hole in the wall, just like a Wile E. Coyote bit. Oh my god, I can't, dude. It's just so good. I love it so much.
Good times.
It's great times. I sincerely sing nothing but praises of Luffy's final form. And if I happen to be the only one that finds this to be an ingenious end result to his power development, I will die on the hill. I think it's great to be building up to this for 25 years and maybe somebody called it, but nothing that I've seen in recent memory in any forum that I found called essentially his power being the power of Looney Tunes.
Mhm.
If anyone had ever said that, I'll be a filthy liar. But my God, for this joke to have gone on for 25 years and this is the end result is incredible. It's just, I feel like I was punked, but in the best way possible.
I want to ask you this question because I think it's a valid concern from Juan. One of his points was that he's concerned about how does Luffy progress through the story now? Like, he's got this really powerful ability and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with it? Like, so he was wondering, he's like, oh, he assumed that like, oh, he can't just use Gear 5th willy-nilly now. It's got to be a special circumstance. You got to train it, blah, blah, blah. From what we've seen in the recent chapters, that's not the case. He just jumped straight into it. Not much of a cooldown kind of thing.
I think that Gear 5, if it's going to have a flaw, it's going to have two things. And I mean, but at the end of the day, like both of them can be like semi-written out depending on how Oda writes the show anyway. But I do think it's going to have two flaws. We've already seen one. By the time he's done using Gear 5, he's super fucking exhausted to the point where he looks like an old man. But the more prevalent one, I think, is that you could see it when he was fighting Kaido and when he was fighting Lucci. He's not a very serious fighter when he cranks open Gear 5, to the point where it's honestly almost a bit of a detriment. Like he's focused more on having fun with his opponent than he is actually trying to beat said opponent, which is very similar to like, sort of the vibe we've had thus far with Luffy. But for a long time, we've had more of the, oh, I'm about to like fucking rock your shit because you've pissed me off for the last time style of protagonist energy, right? Whereas
that's what we
now
get from like Gear 3 and 4, particularly 4. He's like, yo, I'm going to rock you. This is serious mode.
But now with Gear 5, we've taken a bit of a step back where now Luffy, in order to manifest this warrior of liberation or whatever his awakening, he kind of has to almost fall out of the severity of the fight and focuses more on having fun than anything else, which I do think will end up becoming a detriment for the fruit in the future. Now, whether or not that's going to become a big downside, it remains to be seen. It really doesn't seem to have made a significant impact in the story thus far. I mean, he still beat Kaido, obviously. He also still beat, won round 1 against Lucci. I guess we're not really sure if he's going to continue to fight him or whatever is going to happen there. But I think at the end of the day, the Luffy at this point has kind of made it to like final boss statuses. I mean, we're on the final arc. There's only the only two antagonists that are left in my eyes are Aka Inu and Blackbeard. So I don't really
/ world government head honcho or Celestial Dragon people, whatever.
Emu world government, but like those three antagonists, like they're it. And there's no one in between that gives us reason to dick with between them and where Luffy is right now. So I guess my other counter to like now he's just he almost seemed like this power makes him almost too strong or whatever. Similarly, like when Naruto unlocked like all the Nine Tails chakra. I mean, he's at the end of he's at the end. Like there's no one else to deal with between. I think that there's almost this like restriction on Luffy where it's like he can't be like ready for the end game yet, and it's like, well, no, I mean, I think he is. I don't know. I mean, I'm ready. I'm sort of ready for the series to end. I mean, I love it, to death and whatnot, but I'm definitely ready for Oda to finally finish this fucker up.
I think many fans share Juan's concern of like, does Luffy now just overcome everything where like there's almost no obstacles in the sense of like, yeah, I get into a fight with somebody, I win. I think that's where it was
I don't think it's going to become a no obstacle. I do think that there will be fun narrative choices. I just think that the only ones that are going to provide those scary obstacles are going to be one of those three antagonists from now on. That's right.
Okay. I think we're done with our Wano talk, question mark?
I think we're done with our Wano talk.
Okay. Other bullet I put down here is generally the more recent news with like the Egghead arc, and the most recent chapter I think you have read, which came out this week, was 1071. I got a couple things down here. I don't know if you want to start with anything in particular.
Go ahead, dude. Carry the conversation. I'm here for
so we get reveal finally of Dr. Vegapunk, both the main body and his 6 other counterparts.
Dog, can I tell you? Okay, this is another thing. I love Vegapunk. I think he's fucking amazing.
Like Vegapunk, the main body, or like just the concept of Vegapunk and everything incorporated into him?
Both.
Okay.
I love so Vegapunk, for those keeping track at home, is essentially designed off of, so his head is this weird, like, fucking light bulb shape. And the reason why they gave his head like a light bulb shape is because he has the brain fruit. His devil fruit lets his brain grow indefinitely, which is why he's the smartest man alive, whatever. And when he has a light bulb head, which is inspired by Thomas Edison inventing the light bulb. But more importantly, Vegapunk main body looks like fucking Einstein, but very specifically the Einstein, like, famous picture of him sticking his tongue out with paparazzi taking a photo of him. So Oda saw that and was like, "Ooh, I can milk this," and basically gave Vegapunk this, like, weirdly long tongue, just like what's that fucker's name from Big Mom's crew? I always forget his fucking name.
The lollipop dude, the candy man,
Pero Sparrow, I think.
Yeah.
So he has the same tongue as Pero Sparrow, but looks like Einstein. And I find that design choice to be so fucking funny. It looks really good.
On top of that, to explain how he has his main body and then his 6 other counterparts, essentially his brain had at some point grown so excessively big that it was essentially outgrowing his body. It's why he has a massive forehead, where we understand it as he's cut up his cranium to, get some air, and then cut up his brain.
And the other bit,
the other bit too. Bodies.
He cut his brain off, put it in a jar, and then he can set it as like a satellite dish to communicate to 7 other bodies. He split himself up amongst 6 other, like, Vegapunk bodies, essentially. Each one of them having their own, like, semi-personality, whatever, position to do, or, like, purpose or whatever. And the other thing that I thought was hilarious is that the main body, Vegapunk himself, when he cut his head off, his, like, antenna is like the top of an apple, which is just a reference to Isaac Newton. Oh my god, dude, there's just so many fun references with this guy. I think Vegapunk might be one of my favorite design characters in a long time.
Just to go over his 6 satellites, as they're referred to. So we have Shaka, the embodiment of good. Looks like one of the dudes from Daft Punk, which I think is a great design choice. I love it.
Absolutely.
They have Lilith, which is the embodiment of evil. Edison, aspect of thinking, as I'm reading it from the wiki. That might be, there's been some weird translations with these recently. Pythagoras, the embodiment of wisdom. Atlas, the embodiment of, I think it's like violence or rage, one of the two. And then there's York, who, as I'm reading, is the embodiment of greed. I feel like gluttony would be a better...
Dude, the best part about York is that she's essentially just the Bidoof of Vegapunk.
Please expand. I don't know if I follow.
Oh, you don't know? Okay, so in Pokemon, you, at least in the older generations, I don't know if they've, like, changed the rules, but when I played Pokemon, you know how you always learn HMs after you beat certain gyms or whatever? Well, a common strategy, because a lot of those HM moves, like, you need to have them in your team in order to, like, traverse around the map or whatever.
Yeah, like strength, cut, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of the time, those HMs kind of suck. In fact, I think the only one that's, like, any good is Surf. So for the most part, most people will go out of their way to put those moves on a single, like, anchor Pokemon so that they don't have to worry about it. And when Bidoof came out, he has, like, the unique ability of being able to take, like, every HM in the entire game, or at least be able to hold on to 4 by himself. So he became a very common HM slave, it's called.
Gotcha.
In the Pokemon, the Pokemon world, back when I at least was still keeping
I was
up
not
with it or
very
whatever.
What's the word? I wasn't min-maxing my Pokemon playthroughs. I was very much a little noob who was like, I'm Ash Ketchum. I'm going to catch them all. Go Pikachu kind of dude.
It's so good, dude. York is just the Bidoof of the Vega, because all York does is sleep and eat. That is 100% of what York's purpose is.
From what I read here, I don't know if this is correct. It might be wrong. Definitely the eat and sleep part. Apparently, York does everything else, like defecating, other bodily requirements.
Yes, also pooping. Yes, correct.
Oh my god, Luffy found someone who can poop. Luffy found someone who can poop. Oh my god. This is important developments here.
So while all the other Vegapunks do important things like designing, traversing, like, Egghead, or also, like, you know, just doing anything in general, York is on the side, stuffing her face, taking naps, and also pooping for all of the bodies all herself.
Don't ask me how that pooping thing works. That makes absolutely zero sense. But neither does Brooke, and we don't need to ask
that's just
about
like a thing. They all share body needs, even though they're all separate into 7 different bodies. You know what? I don't even care. I don't care about it. The logic's fine. Checks out in my book.
Perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine.
Continuing with the Vegapunk and everything that spawned from him. I guess we talked about the Ohara stuff. So
Saul's alive.
Is he? Saul's alive. Yes, Saul's alive. That's confirmed. Saul is alive. Robin's best friend is alive somewhere in the world. Community potentially thinks he's an Elbaf. We don't know that yet. Hopefully he is. Probably is. Who knows?
I mean, I think it's confirmed he's an Elbaf.
He's
Vegapunk
rolled up on the Ohara incident after, I don't know if it's a couple of days or like a couple of weeks after everything went down. He also bumps into Dragon at that same time.
All right. I mean, we don't need to cover like every fucking minute of every detail. At the end of the day,
important.
After the books, no, get out of here. After the books were burned, a couple of giants picked him up and sent him all to Elbaf. That's the only thing that matters. And we didn't get the name of the giant that was wrapped in bandages that took all of the research to Elbaf, but we got confirmation that a giant with a crew of giants we've seen before picked up the books that were burning from Robin's flashback, took them all to Elbaf. That much is known. The only unknown was when Robin was like, hey, the giant that did all this, was his name Saul? And then Vegapunk was like, I can neither confirm or deny this accusation, but we all know it was fucking Saul.
Now the question is, do you think he is the person that Kid is looking
that Kid
for?
Was talking about? Yeah, I think that this makes a lot of sense. And there's a little bit of discourse in the community where they're like, nah, that would be stupid. I'm like, nah, I mean, that makes the guy, the one that's marked by flame. I actually think, I mean, getting burned by being frozen alive and also having been in the fires of Ohara is like totally a thing. I mean, if he's wrapped in bandages from head to toe, it's got to be for some reason. Why not be for burn marks? I think it makes perfect sense that he would be the man marked by flames. And if there was anyone close enough to the scholars of Ohara to have any significant information for Kid in this instance, since we all know that Robin's the only one that can read poneglyphs, who better than somebody like Saul, who was there when the island went down and was like decent friends with the scholars themselves. He's had all their research all this time. Maybe he's learned a thing or two about what they were or what they researched. I think it makes perfect sense for him to be the man marked by flames. I think is almost it's a guarantee at this point in my mind. But you know, I've been wrong before.
We've been wrong before.
See Yamato joining the straws.
Do you have any thoughts on the devil fruit theory or devil fruit lore that is theory from Vegapunk, but also confirmed by Vegapunk? Any of that stuff? So like Vegapunk confirmed the whole like lineage factor thing and how he produces seraphims with devil fruit powers from other people is this thing called green blood or whatever.
We learned a lot more about this in the past, but he just clarified like it's easy to copy a Zoan. It's harder to copy the Paramecias and Logias. I don't remember if he said he figured out how to do Logia, but he said he figured out how to do Paramecia. However, I guess they have to be pumped with green blood all the time. I don't really like this is so fresh. I don't even think that this has been completely expanded on. So I don't feel comfortable even like delving into it too much. But now we have confirmation for at least non-humanoid things, or rather humanoid but not living things like the Seraphim that he created. The Paramecias are on the table in terms of cloning. We still don't really know much about Logias, and then Zoans were always easy for him.
I know
apparently.
For Logias, he said it's just really expensive and time consuming. I'm pretty sure he was able to clone Kizaru's fruit, and that's how all the pacifistas and seraphims have lasers. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I might be.
Well, I mean, that hasn't been like completely, given to us yet, but I don't know. Regardless.
How do you feel about the statement he made of essentially, as I'm going to poorly summarize it, where Vegapunk's theory of devil fruit existence is that people just kind of will them into existence?
Dude, I actually think that that's really fun. So, okay, this is where I'm starting to like, I might be biased, but I don't need great logic for
I don't need
narratives.
science in my One Piece, all right? Give me silly magic.
That's fine for me. And honestly, the fact that, okay, so Vegapunk essentially says that his theory about how devil fruits are created is that they're created from people's dreams, from their wishes, essentially. And it's all in my mind, I think it's great from a narrative perspective because it explains how these weird fucking niche ash powers come into existence.
Whoever's
like
asking for the spring fruit from that one dude in Jaya and Dressrosa, you people are weird.
I mean, you are a little weird, but it creates almost this like expectation that the reason why there's so many niche powers out there is because it all stems from like different individuals wishing for this, the answer to a very specific problem, a very specific problem in their lives, as opposed to, the universe accidentally manifesting something that just so happens to resemble the spring fruit. Like, why does the universe even know what a spring is? You know what I mean? Like, I like this energy, to be perfectly honest, and it all calls back to the big open statement that Roger makes at and even in like the opening of the original anime opening or whatever, where he's like, something, whatever, dreams, these are the hearts of mankind or whatever. At the end of the day, dreams is at the heart of this franchise, and I'm here for it. So I don't know where else they're going to go with this thought. This is just like Vegapunk sort of said this on the side, like, yeah, I think devil fruits are the manifestation of other people's dreams. We don't know like in what way they get manifested. We don't really know the limitations of that. It's just like something he said on the side. But a part of me is kind of like, yeah, I'm here for it, dude. That's just me though.
I thought it was a really cool highlight moment. I know it's been a hot burning talking point in the One Piece community. I don't know if I have any thoughts on it. I think it's wild if it's true or not. Whatever the case is, I'm here for the ride. Let the devil fruit theory stew brew some more, or whatever I just said. It needs to cook a little bit more, Yeah.
I mean,
it is
definitely
fun though.
more that we can
I've been enjoying the Egghead arc because it just seems like every week, more or less, there is just something really cool and compelling just being dropped every chapter.
Yeah, totally.
Oda is doing it right. I don't know how he's doing it week after week after week, but he's figured it out. He's got a formula.
I'm having a great time, and I'm here for the ride. Can I also tell you too? We didn't even talk about it. I do have a big thing that I want on this cast.
Hit me with it.
Only the Discord members have heard me say this. So I will say one thing that we also got during this is that we got confirmation after the end of Wano that Luffy has another dream beyond being the Pirate King that up until now has been very ambiguous and confusing because they resort to reflecting back to that the Ace, Sabo, and Luffy like declaration backstory where they all say like their dreams and whatnot. The anime just goes all in on saying I'm going to be king of the pirates there. But I don't even know if like the manga made it ambiguous at the time and then the anime just made it I'm going to be king of the pirates. But apparently we're supposed to believe that entire time Luffy said his real dream in that moment, and we've not been privy to it up until now, right? So the community has been... So now, after we beat Wano, Luffy lets slip that dream to the rest of the crew members, but in like an offhanded comment that we didn't see as the viewers.
They hear it and see it. We know nothing about it. We just get like their oohs and ahs after Luffy finishes explaining.
And they all laugh. They all think it's funny or whatever, or they're surprised and whatnot. What I find interesting is that since we weren't privy to it, we're still left in the dark. A lot of the community has been trying to guess what that dream might be. A very popular dream choice is that he wants to have a party with everyone on planet Earth or wherever the planet that they're on is called.
Yeah.
And I still think in my heart of hearts that that's probably going to end up being the case. But in recent memory, specifically when that chapter came out, I was trying to parse what could possibly be an alternative to Luffy's dream. And it wasn't until we watched Luffy's backstory that I do kind of think I got a good idea.
Go on.
So I think, and this is my only counter to the party with the world, and I haven't heard anyone say it, I think that Luffy's dream might be that he wants to live forever. But
wow.
There's a caveat there, and I said this to the Discord too. I basically talked to myself the entire time because that's just the kind of asshole I am. I think a lot of people would argue that that's a very useless dream for somebody of Luffy's stature because that feels very selfish, right? Like, why would someone like Luffy want to live forever? But I sort of think that it's less about physically living forever and more about spiritually. He wants to make an impact on the world so incredible that he lives forever. And I think that only a handful of the straws even got that when he mentioned so. Like Nami when she smiled after he said it, and she was like, that sounds a lot like you. I think that when Luffy says his dream is, I want to live forever, he's going to end up being a mirror to Blackbeard. I think Luffy and Blackbeard have the exact same dream, which is how they're going to be compelling as the protagonist antagonist. I think that Law's surgery, the living forever surgery, is something that Blackbeard also wants. I think Blackbeard wants to live forever literally, whereas Luffy wants to live forever spiritually, if that kind of makes sense. So
Blackbeard wants immortal life. Luffy wants immortalization.
Correct.
In a very metaphorical-ish sense.
Yes, that is essentially in a nutshell my dream. Because you know what? I think that looking back at Luffy's backstory and a lot of other things is when Ace told him that he'll never die, it's not that it came off as jarring, but it's kind of weird. It felt like a weird thing to just like promise to somebody, right? Especially like, you know, your brother or whatever. Maybe not, like, depending on the context, but I like to think now, after, you know, parsing this theory out, that when Ace came up with, as long as, you know, Luffy is around and kicking and he needed to be protected, he would make sure never to die. I almost think that was a proclamation, like, in addition to Luffy's dream, where he's like, I want to live forever, almost telling Luffy, like, hey, as long as you're alive, I'm alive. If you want to live forever, I'm going to be damn sure to live forever as long as you need it, or whatever. You kind of know what I mean?
Yeah.
I almost think that was an even more intimate response than we see as an audience back in those days. There's an even deeper context that we weren't privy to at the time. And also, I think back to Roger. And if Roger and Luffy have the same dream, this is the other caveat. They clearly have the same dream. So Roger wanting to have a party with the world feels a little weird to me, considering he could have done that. Like, I don't see why he came too early to have a party with the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't understand why he needed the weapons and like all this thing to have a party with the world. I think he could have done that, being the king of the pirates that he already was, if that was like his grand goal, or at least, and he never seemed to try, right? He never seemed to try to do that. So if Luffy and Roger share the same goal of having a party with the world, why did Roger not try to do that as best he could? Instead, he just gave himself up or whatever. I think that he also wanted to live forever, just like Luffy, since they both have the same dream. And what did he do when he realized he couldn't accomplish the grand end result from learning the history of the world? He did the only thing he could think of to immortalize himself for as long as he possibly could. He gave himself up and started the pirate era. So he did try to do his goal. He did it as best he could with the cards he was dealt, and he didn't fucking throw it all away, right? He tried. Now, he might not immortalize himself like Luffy one day will, but he did. With the hand he was dealt, he was like, fine, bet. Then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to immortalize myself by starting a brand new pirate age. You know what I mean? I just think there's something a little bit more, I guess, exhilarating about that metric. But anyway, that's my long drawn out headcanon theory. Hopefully that might be the case or whatever for Luffy going forward.
I can support this theory. This sounds dope.
I like this. I worked very hard to try to come up with something that was as good as a party with the rest of the world. And this was the best I got. I'll probably end up being wrong, which is fine, but I want it on cast. All right, I want to hear it now that I called it, if it's that he wants to live forever. This came out, it is January 8th of 2023, and I got it, I called it, all right?
Jumping on to the party with the world thing, I think, I don't know if anyone's ever said this part particularly, I think a very key caveat to Luffy achieving this particular dream, if this is how it goes down, is one, he needs to just absolutely abolish Celestial Dragon's little government as a whole. Two, I think he's going to like Pangea his worlds. He's gonna year 5
I think so too.
Just stretch to every continent, island, what have you, and just go smush. And we have
you think he's literally going to use his devil fruit to smush all the continents together?
That's how we get the One Piece.
Okay, that's
part's
definitely
a meme
out there.
That last part is more of a meme, but I think the Pangea thing is kind of plausible.
I think that I do think that there's going to be a world continental change, but I don't think it's going to be all the islands being smushed together. I think it's more along the lines of the red line being demolished.
Yeah, I think the red line being demolished is how you get the all blue for Sanji.
Yeah, so you get the all blue for Sanji, you make the world one piece, and then you also have like a piece on the seas or something, because now all the seas can, easily traverse or intermingle as they see fit. I think it would almost lose a little bit of value in the world if you just forced all the islands together, because part of the fun of the series is like that sense of adventure, right? Like, going from island to island and all this like new stuff, these new cultures, these new settings or whatever. So I don't see it as Luffy's energy to be like, now all that adventure I've been seeking after all this time, fuck all that, I want them all on one place. I don't know, I feel like that would be a little lackluster, but I do also think that when all of the weapons are utilized or whatever, somehow the red line's going to get destroyed and we will get the all blue or the One Piece Sea, so to speak.
Yeah. What else we could talk about? I do want to talk about this stuff. So recent Blackbeard happenings. He invaded Amazon Lily, caused a ruckus, kidnapped Kobe, runs into Law on the sea. They duke it out. We're not sure how that fight ends. And now in the most recent chapter, Garp has taken a ship, taken Helmeppo and a couple other new Marine people who I'm pretty sure they're all Sword members. And they're like, we're going to go save Kobe's ass. I don't know if you have any thoughts or anything you want to talk about between those three little things, or just
you pretty much covered it. I mean, yeah, Blackbeard, all of his crew members supposedly have devil fruits now. What's his name?
Right,
his helmsman.
Forgot that part.
Fucking Jesus Burgess now has the muscle fruit. The sniper dude, I forget his name.
He has the warp fruit where he can teleport. Other people / things.
Yeah, which is actually kind of sick.
That's broken for him. I'm thinking about like, how is Usopp gonna 1v1 that man in the future? Like, bro, he puts you wherever he wants you to be. How do you do that?
That's what I'm saying, dude. And then who's the other one we got come from? Oh, the doctor guy who has the sick fruit.
Yes, I think that's the actual English translation where he makes you sick, but he just comes like, what was it? The disease he gave Law and his crew was, I forgot the name of the disease they said it, but they just genter bent everybody.
Yeah.
I was like, how is this a sickness? You just made thousands of fandoms across the world just like ooze from
I can't even hate it. I can't hate it because we've already had Ivankov who has the hormone fruit and can adjust your hormones to make you a woman. So what if he just developed an illness that it changes your hormones? So like
it makes sense. But I'm like, this isn't a sickness.
Box is already open in my mind.
This is a gift. Gender bent Law is hot. All right, thank you.
Oh my god, it's so fucking ridiculous, dude.
But I think those are actually really exhilarating chapters when they're coming out. I was like, oh shit.
I mean, I had a lot of fun finding out more about Blackbeard and seeing like that like subplot play out. Don't get me wrong, but I think we need to get more resolution in that side plot because right now Garp is on his way to go fuck with Blackbeard on
Full Lead Island.
Fulalead, Beehive Island, whatever the fuck the actual name island is. He's getting ready to go fuck some shit up and hopefully get Kobe back. But beyond that, I'm just kind of like, I'm along for the ride with Blackbeard, What
I appreciate most about those segments was showing off that Law's crew isn't like some pipsqueak people that get ran over. Because everyone always talks about like, Law is a great and powerful pirate. Beppo, he cool. The rest of his crew is just doctors and assistants, and they just live in a submarine. They don't do anything. That fight proved the other.
We live in a yellow submarine. Sorry,
so I think it was really nice to be like, hey, like they can fight. They're on. If anything, they fight better because they're in the ocean. And you know what? I can go underwater. Fuck you.
Yeah, dude. I love that.
Put all the haters to rest. Hopefully.
Well, we'll never put all the haters to rest, but
yeah, you're right.
It was a good effort. It was a solid effort.
Well, that was pretty cool. I'm scared for Law. I don't know what Blackbeard's going to do. I'm very concerned, but we will get that down the line. Hopefully, eventually, maybe. Who knows?
Who knows indeed.
That's I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about before I get to this next and last bullet potentially.
Yeah, no, I think we've pretty much covered everything. This has already been kind of long. I'm honestly surprised we had this much to talk about, if I'm going to be honest.
Same. All right, so we did. Do you have any opinions on anime? Which you probably don't because you're not caught up on the anime because you're waiting for stuff.
That is correct. But I will say the One Piece dub is in Wano, and I couldn't be happier. I told these guys in the chat, so recently they were like finishing up Whole Cake Island in the dub. They've been cranking them out like madmen. They did like 200 episodes in a year or something like that. It was fucking ridiculous. And they've just made it to Wano. I couldn't be happier. For the first time ever, the dub and the sub are on the same arc. Now, to be fair, they're still off by like I think 130 episodes or something like that. But like the fact that they're on the same arc for the first time ever is mind-boggling to me. And I also hear that in the background, they've already done through the beginning of the raid at Funimation. They haven't released it yet. I think they've only released like the first 20-ish episodes of the Wano arc, but they've already dubbed all the way up and to the beginning of the raid.
Wow.
So they're basically right on the heels of the true anime, and I couldn't be happier, dude. There's like there's a non-zero chance that by the time we get to Wano, the dub will be in the same spot as the sub, and I'm like, I never thought this timeline would happen. Never in my wildest lovely dreams. I will continue to pay for Funimation and watch that shit till the day I die. Thank you, Funny, for bringing me this lovely. Now, Wano is very horribly paced, and I'm not loving every bit of it. Don't get me wrong.
I normally, before I would constantly defend it, like, no, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Recently, I've been proven wrong. Like, oh no, it's kind of bad.
The first 20-ish episodes of Wano have some real fucking terrible pacing. Don't get me wrong, but I get to experience the show with the characters and voices that I've grown accustomed to over the last like 7 or 8 years. So I'm here for it.
Same. Happy for you.
Thank you, my guy.
I do want to close on this one bullet, but before anything else, we already gave our Wano thoughts, enemy opinions. We don't really have any.
I think I'm good. I think I covered everything.
I don't think we did predictions already, kind of, sort of, maybe. Anyway, last thing I want to do is just read Oda's Jump Festa message. So that was kind of recent important happenings. Redirecting. Let me pull up the full image. That's not it. Why can't I find it? There it is. Okay. So Oda wrote this at Jump Fest, or wrote this as a open letter to Jump Festa crowd. This happened no more than a month ago, I believe. Lots of things were happening for Jump Festa, new anime previews and releases, manga talking, blah blah blah. For the One Piece segment, they talked a lot about One Piece Odyssey coming out. Lots to talk about Film Red. In terms of like manga stuff, anything I think was touched upon was mentioned in this letter that I will read for you now. To everyone attending Jump Festa, as well as everyone else tuning in, hello. This is world famous idol Ichiro Uta. Kidding. Now then, this year the Wano Country Saga finally ended, and while the manga's been plenty busy, Film Red also became a massive box office hit, so it's been one mind-blowing year. All One Piece staff members were cheering of joy. Uda-chan's upcoming Red and White TV tour will be airing for the following days only as well, so I hope you can enjoy it. Also, the trading card game turned out to be really pretty fun. Right before this, I asked my editors, give me the rare cards, but they told me that's a desire not even the likes of us can be granted access to. What the hell? The long story has already been going for over 25 years, and recently I've noticed that more and more younger readers are getting into it, which makes me happy. I know I've been saying Final Saga this and Final Saga that, but it's not going to end as quickly as I'm making it sound, so I'd recommend not stressing over it and just reading comfortably. Next year, the game that's been 6 years in development, One Piece Odyssey, will finally release, and the One Piece Hollywood live action is making progress. For now, we've had the base footage of Season 1. So much went on behind the scenes, but if I'm being honest, the most worried person in the world that this will turn... Sorry. So much went on behind the scenes, but if I'm being honest, the most worried person in the world that this will turn out good is me, lol. But it actually looks amazing. And finally, for the future of the One Piece manga, no way that person and that person are going to be fighting. That's the type of story you can expect. If I were to give it a title, I'd call it Free for All Battle Royale. I hope no one dies. Please look forward to the One Piece series this following year, like always, Ichiro Oda.
Yeah, I mean, this is essentially an advertisement in several words. I mean, but like, come on.
What I think is what really caught my attention is everyone has been talking about like what he means at the very tail end of like, oh, this person, that person are going to fight. I hope no one dies. And then, this hypothetical
I'm going to be honest, that line, it doesn't even faze me.
Doesn't even faze you? Got no questions, theories?
Zero whatsoever. He's a hype man. All right.
Yeah, I love him.
Don't fall for his traps. Don't fall for his traps. He's a goddamn goon. He's probably talking about fucking Papa Goo and fucking the green haired dude from like the beginning of the series. All right. I'm talking like Treasure Chest Guy and Papa Goo are going to fight and it's going to be a battle royale. He's a goon. All right. Don't trust his fucking lies. No, he's a fun writer and I do like I think he's a fantastic author and I love his work. He's a hype man. Don't listen to him.
I am the hype. I buy nothing but hype. Give me more.
He's such a fucking loser, man. I hate this guy. But I do love his work. It's fantastic.
Remember here, kids, you said it first. One Piece ending final saga, but not that soon. So take your time. Whatever that really means in terms of chronology.
That's my only big takeaway. Up until now, I mean, the Discord has asked us a couple of times. I'm still in the camp that I can't see the series going beyond chapter 1300. In fact, if I was going to be honest, I think it would be 1200. But I recognize that maybe there's still a decent amount of story left to tell from, Oda's perspective or whatever. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that he's got just over 100 chapters to do. But I would be remiss if I said that I do think he's got more than 200 chapters left under his belt. But again, I've been wrong before. Some people in the Discord have suggested that he might do 15 or even 1600. I think that's a lot, but if he's got that much story left in him, power to him, man. It sounds like a lot to me, though.
I think 1500 is the absolute cap I could ever see this manga reaching. I don't know how the numbers exactly would play out, but I think it would be really cool if Oda planned this story in a way where he ends it in 30 years.
Right. I remember you saying, you've said that before, that you think it would be nice if the final chapter released on exactly the 30-year mark or something like that.
I think it'd be pretty neat.
I too think that would be quite nice. 30-year run.
Can't believe it. It's been so long. Such a ride.
It has been a ride and a half, though. Right?
I'm technically, when did I pick up One Piece? Maybe when I was like 18, give or take. So I was 18 years late to the party. Absolutely wild. Can't wait for that, though.
Same. It's been a great ride.
Yep. And like the great ride that One Piece is, this Spoilercast has been a great ride. I'm surprised how just free flowing, like from the very beginning, it was, you came up with this SpongeBob bit, we rolled in with it in like 5 minutes. I don't know how you have the improv skills to just parody the little intro in 5 minutes, but you did it. We did a little practice.
It was only like 6 lines, like 4 lines even.
Listen, my brain couldn't do it, but you did it. Good job, big guy. We rolled into the intro a little bit. Just came out swinging. We got an hour and a half of content, more or less. And before Dylan cuts that down, but...
and before Dylan cuts this whole thing down to 10 minutes.
But yeah, I think we got everything out that we need to talk about, more or less.
Yeah, I think we're good. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Justin, for joining me. This was fun, as always. And,
likewise.
Do you want to do the plugs, Justin? By all means, please. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you for listening to us today / tonight, whatever time it is. If you wish to follow us on social media, you can do so on Instagram and Twitter at Panda Sightings. If you wish to send us emails with anything and anything you want to talk about, you can do so at pandasightings@gmail.com. If you wish to financially support us in our endeavors for this podcast, anything else we might do in the future, you can do so on Patreon. You can find that link in the bio of our Instagram, Twitter, podcast description of this episode. And finally, if you wish to join a community with other people who somehow, for some reason, enjoy our podcast and like talking about One Piece and watching other stuff.
Christian says we can't make those jokes anymore. It makes him upset.
Well, this is a Spoilercast. Christian's not allowed in here. This is a safe space for us, all right? Like I was saying, if you want to join a Discord with cool people and be cool people with them, we got people who do movie nights like damn near weekly. It's a great time. There's worms in there. It's fun. It's crazy. We're wacky. You could do so by clicking the links to our Discord in our Linktree bio, episode description, blah, blah, blah. Join our Discord. We're great.
Yeah, we're so much fun. We're so funny. Everyone always says how funny we are, and I don't cry at all, I swear. People love us. Come join us, please. They're so mean to me in there. I can't do it anymore. I need friends. I'm just kidding.
Nah, the person who gets bullied in there is Devin, and semi-rightfully so.
I don't think anyone gets bullied. We don't bully.
Well,
come on,
not
that's
real
a bad
bullying
standard as to how we're very meme oriented in that Discord. In fact, right now there's a worm war going on. Everyone's got a D in their fucking username. It's a whole thing, man.
Peeking behind the curtain real quick. Wow, I forgot what I was going to peel the curtain behind to look at.
Nice. You peeled the curtain and then you basically...
I saw the infinity of knowledge and lost all of my own. What on earth was I going to say? I'm actually upset at myself.
Come on,
you know
dude. What are you doing?
This is a sign. End the show. Cut the feed. We're done.
Thank you for listening. We hope we'll hopefully you'll join us for the next one or whatever. Thank you.
Bye-bye now. Have a good night.